a photo of the TV screen. I want to make sure you pay attention to the TV screen when we come back. Okay? I'll talk about why when we come back and when we get back into the boardwalk. So don't just go right in. I want you to come up and watch the TV screen. We're going to go ahead and head into the boardwalk, into the back area of the ride. So as we walk through these gates, you can probably remember, those of you that have been in the park, this was a cut through for the amusement park to go through. We actually planned this project for over 2 years, hence why Boardwalk Barbecue is pushed out as far as it is. This will no longer be a midway. So our midway flow will actually be bringing our guests all the way around, and you'll be able to see all the features from the main midway in the boardwalk. So you guys will actually be standing in the back when I give the presentation, and I'll point out how all of the features will be visible from the midway. So I will talk through what the different surfboards are. That actually are just place markers out there, and you can also reference the drawing right above my head. Now think of this is a mirror image of what you're actually going to see out there. So when you're flipping around, we're looking at it from as if you were standing down in front of the coasters looking down the midway. So just so you can see that it is a flipped image. The first part we're going to get to is there is a blue surfboard out there by a pile of concrete at the edge of the dirt piles. That is actually where the top of the lift is. That is a straight vertical 90-degree lift. It is a chain lift. It actually works opposite to most coasters. The chain actually has the dog that holds the train up. A lot of coasters actually usually have the dog on the car. Instead, it's actually being pushed up. What happens if it gets stuck? It actually has magnetic braking coming down. So there is not an actual whole brake on there. It'll actually lower itself all the way down. And then there is actually a platform lift that goes up to the top if for some reason that whole brake at the top was to hold. So those aren't in the illustration for obvious reasons, but that's how it does work. You will hold, like I said, where it is in the picture there, at the 90 degrees, before you, for 2 seconds at 60 degrees, before you drop back. This point right here, which is actually the tall surfboard, directly across, it's the yellow one, is where the lift will be. That is where you'll have your 96-degree drop. So you're actually going backwards into it. You will notice as you come through, you go into the negative G roll, which is the surfboard. It's hard to see. It's out there in line with the lights, and actually the lights are making it dark. That's actually the furthest point on the coaster. It actually is a little bit beyond the surfboard. So that's your first inversion coming in, and you actually have two on that loop. One going into it and one coming out of it. As you go through, there is now a white surfboard, which is the right here. You're coming in and it's doing somewhat of a corkscrew. It only has one. You're then coming back towards the station, back past the lift, which is where back to the blue surfboard again, and that's where you'll have the high bank curve. You go through and then you'll have inversions 4 and 5, and then come into the brake run, which is on the back stretch. Any questions? Wow. Got it. How do you go straight up? 90 degrees. So it'll actually take one train. There is no block system on the ride, so it is just one train at a time. There's actually 2 different brakes. Yes?
How powerful is the G-force?
G's actually haven't listed there at all. We've talked about speed. So speed I did not cover, was 57 miles per hour in the ride.
Why this kind of coaster?
Why this kind of coaster? Good question. We wanted something that was thrill. We've been focused on family for several years. We did talk about putting the thrill coaster in several years ago, but we wanted to get the whole family back into the park. We finally feel that we have gotten a balance with the family, and we haven't had anything since Silver Bullet came in, so this is now the time to do this.
What's the hourly capacity?
800.
800?
800 guests per hour.
Is it going to be lap bars only?
No, it'll be lap bars, and Cedar Fair we have seat belts on every single one of our.
But I mean, but no over
But
the
over the shoulder restraints, correct.
How many total inversions?
5 inversions total.
Okay.
So the corkscrew was originally here, boomerang was originally here with loops, and now we've got a more looping.
We have more loops.
coaster.
So,
But why doesn't it have any of the colors from the corkscrew? I noticed it looks a lot like boomerang. Was there any way to incorporate some of the corkscrew?
there is a reason, and I did say when we get back over there, I want you to pay attention to the TV, so I will be talking about that more. So there is a reason why these columns are silver and light blue in this area. Those of you that aren't familiar with it, like he did mention, this is where corkscrew was. This is where boomerang was. Down at the far end is where hammerhead and riptide was. So those of you that saw when we ripped out riptide, it turned into like a grass planter. Now you know it was on purpose.
When will this open?
This will open summer of 2018. The other part, down at the, you'll see there is one last building standing. That's the backside of the Hammerhead Riptide building, and that is actually getting torn down next week. So we're going all the way from Charleston Circle up to the Sky Tower. Yes?
Is the 2-car train and how many trains?
There's 3 trains, and then it's actually, they're actually in 4 individual rows.
Right.
Is what they are. It's actually not 2 cars of 2. So it's 4 rows, they're each individual.
But is it 2 connected or is it just one big car?
No, it's 4 connected.
Okay.
So 4
Oh,
individuals.
4 rows, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Millennial Flyers that we have on Ghost Rider, how the individual seats are individual cars.
What's the time duration?
80 seconds of ride time.
Does it have 1 or 2 loading platforms?
It has 1 loading platform.
Are the trains gonna have like different themes to each train, or are they all different?
They're going to be pretty uniform with the exception of the headrest. They are going to have a surfing theme. So the headrest will actually be themed as surfboards, and those will be intertwined and mixed around the pole. So they're all the same.
How will the queue area look?
The queue area is going to be directly in the middle, right through all the loop areas. You'll actually enter right under the Hangtime logo, which is right at the bottom of the lift. There will be a fast lane entry and the regular queue entry. The line is designed to hold 600. Inside that queue, it'll snake back and forth, and we'll be having shade cloths over the top of it, staying with the beach theme in the whole boardwalk area.
Now, when guests ride this, are they able to choose their row, or is it assigned to?
No, we'll actually have a grouper at the beginning where the fast lane is, and if you want to request the front, because most guests are going to want it the front for the hang versus the rear.
Yeah.
Some people will want the rear. Our front is the longest queue line, our back is a little longer, and then the middle 2 are shorter.
What's the height requirement?
48 inches. 2 seconds. What was that? Yes, it will have a ride-off quota. We have not determined a location for it. So as you come off the ride, you'll exit. It's a through station. So you will enter from the inside of the track. You'll exit on the midway side, walk down, and then where the t-shirt shop was that turned into a game, which was a hat shop, that you may remember in Charleston Circle, that'll actually be a merchandise and photo opportunity building going through. And we will feature fun picks in there for anybody that does have the fun picks package with their season pass.
Do you know about how fast it goes up to the two? It's pretty slow.
It's pretty quick.
Okay.
I don't have an actual speed on it, but it is pretty quick when it goes up. Well, the longest time is actually sitting in the hold position. There's a hold right before it. And what happens is there's only one dog on the chain. So it's driving up pretty quick. It gets up pretty high speed, comes down, and then the dog sits there at the bottom. So it's ready to go for the next train while the train's making its way through the cycle. As soon as it gets into the brake run and then into the next block in the brake run, the car will advance where the chain dog's already waiting.
Are there
Ready
any
to go. Are there any what?
trims?
No trims.
Are there going to be cubbies?
We have to determine if we're going to do cubbies or lockers. We have not.
Will the loading area have ease of access for disability?
Yes, it will. We, on the exit platform, there will be an elevator and then a holding area inside there before you actually get into the loading area. And that will be on the unload side, so the midway side. You'll enter over by the merchandise facility.
Weight restrictions, et cetera?
It's actually, size-wise, they have a 350 per seat, but that's an average based on the actual train capacity is what it is. So you could have somebody that weighs more as long as they fit in the restraint. There'll be a go, no-go on the restraint coming all the way down. It has to click twice, and then the seatbelt on as well.
Will
And
there be a
then,
way to check that before getting on the ride?
as of now, there is not a test seat. And then on top of that, so seatbelt-wise, think of the ones over at Accelerator. It's almost the same exact restraint, how you have the T-bar, and then you have the tab that you're pulling off to the side so we can speed up the operation. It'll be a different color tab, so the operators can actually see the guest pull on it rather than having to check lap bar and restraint on every single guest.
Is there like, can you go a little more detail about the our restraint? What specific type of restraint is it for lap bar?
They will not release that
Oh, okay.
information. Good try.
What about lighting
Yes.
package?
We'll talk about that when we get back to
Okay,
Boardwalk
cool.
Barbecue.
Can you tell us cost?
I cannot tell you the cost. A lot.
More than 50 bucks?
More than $50, yes. And less than Tower of Terror redo. How's that?
Well played, sir.
Or am I going down for that one?
That's good.
All right, just check it.
Good manufacturer.
Gerslauer. Gerslauer is. This coaster is confusing because it's very similar to a Eurofighter. So if you look at a Eurofighter, but it's called an Infinity, so it's really and I compared it to the Daredevil Dive at Six Flags, and that's because it's basically a Eurofighter on steroids, is really what it is. Those cars, because some of the Eurofighters are 8 passengers, they don't actually have the 16 like we do, so it's just a lot bigger of it. The Infinity is the next version up. So,
How many cars are actually moving on the track at once? Is it just one?
just one, because of the fact there's no brake lines.
Okay.
Yes?
Can I ride it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm usually the first one to ride almost every single one of the rides, besides after the manufacturer allows us to.
And Joe, just so you know, on Periscope, everybody was loving your Tower of Terror comment.
And my daughter works there, so I guess actually, let me rephrase that, my daughter used to work there.
Are we talking about right here?
Talking lighting down there.
Okay.
Can't make it for us.
She is the sarcastic one. I wonder where she gets it from when she's on the Jungle Cruise.
Did you have sort of any other ideas for like theming or the name of a coaster?
The name we went around and around on. Okay, so the ride itself, we really did not talk much about or two other manufacturers. We knew we wanted something different that didn't exist anywhere else. So the only place, I mean, the fact that it was in Georgia, checking the ride out, and it was a smaller version. We knew there wasn't one on the West Coast. Worked directly with Gerstlauer and said, here's the plot of land, what can you do with it? They came back with a ride that didn't have enough elements to it, so we said, okay, what if you went a little further to the south and we took out the merchandise building that was also still standing there and the building that we were going to use for the electrical vault, and that's where we got the different elements. So we've been with Gerstlauer since the beginning, that was the original idea we had in it. As far as the theming, the boardwalk we've been establishing over the years, it really started with Accelerator went in. What Accelerator, the story for the boardwalk is, and you'll notice it's Lee's Last Stand, you're supposed to be leaving the town and going out as you get to the ocean. Hence why it's called Lee's Last Stand. So it started way back in 2000. As you came out, we had the pool for perilous plunge, and we maintained the water statement just so you were along the boardwalk. And then the sand theme was to tie into the existing theme of the area. So it's been a mesh ever since we started with the Accelerator.
We
So,
have a theming
it'll be, the landscape inside will be beach theme, and then we're looking at stamped concrete or colored textured concrete. So there'll actually be like shells in there impregnated into the sand, and then the shade cloths over it.
Nice.
Thanks. Okay, there's got to be more questions.
Any questions?
Yes.
So is the layout custom designed for your pad size that you had and then you expanded it, or
Yeah,
did
what
you
it-
originally intend that?
So the original intent was we knew we wanted a Eurofighter. We actually went to Gerstlauer first for a Eurofighter and said, here's the space, what can you give us? The first that they came back with was only less than 100 feet on the lift, and it only had 3 inversions. So much like the one I had gone to look at. And then we said, okay, what can you do more? And they came back with their drawings and overlaid and said, here's what else we can give you, more elements to get the 5 inversions and a bigger track. So it was working with Gerstlauer to develop it, to get to a ride that we actually liked. Big sticking point for us was getting to that 96 degrees. We went back and forth, and also the true hold at the top, because we will be holding you there and putting on a hold brake. I talked about the fact that there'd be an elevator that goes to the top and the actual platform, because it was talking about just putting magnetic braking. Well, with magnetic, you still have that creep always, since you won't ever have a complete stop. So that was something that we also insisted on. So really, those are the 2 elements that we really held on back on. And then the first idea was to hold them up, I guess, for 6 seconds. But if you think about 6 seconds, it's a long time.
How long was the total planning development?
About 2.5 years is when we first started talking about the fact. Actually, I take it back. We have been talking about a coaster for well over 6 years in this area. But as far as when we determined that Boomerang was coming out, was shortly after we had to make a decision about Riptide. And that's when we really got serious about moving forward. We had the good guest reactions from Ghost Rider when we were going into that project. And so we knew we needed to do something coming up 2 years from when we opened that right up.
Can you tell us an approximate debut time for this?
Yeah, it's summer of 2017.
Will we be able to see an animation of like like a POV animation or anything like that?
Yes, that will be coming up later this year.
Okay.
Any other questions maybe you have? What we can do is we can go down the stairs. Oh, yes, Mark.
Is there a designated upset stomach zone after you go outside?
There are these blue trash cans. We ask that you open the flap all the way, pull out the actual cans, and then clean the trash can. You can use that.
I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but what's the height requirements?
48 inches. Yes.
Did you say we're going to start seeing anything with the
Yes, you actually, we will be the building that is left, we will be starting on Monday rerouting the fiber optics and power that are in there. That building is actually crucial to the middle of this park. It keeps all of the lights on in here, keeps the point of sale going, keeps the log ride, mine ride going. That's being rerouted next week. The foundations will be starting on the 28th. We actually have a permit and you guys didn't find it.
Should we start lining up now?
You can. I recommend it. I'll let you know after I write it how it goes.